Cool. Hello. So today I think I'm speaking really loud now as well. So here we go. All of the theatres will hear. What fun. We're going to talk about revenue generation in the culture sector for museums and heritage organisations. Going to give you a little bit of context as to why we need to take this incredibly seriously. I'm sure you all know this. Why should we innovate? And why that's the thing that we need to do rather than other options we might have. And then I'm going to share with you, I'm going to share with you the strategies for growth that we deploy across our clients. So you know all the things that work, so you don't have to go and do a load of things that don't. So hopefully that will be useful. So the reason why we're here today is because Navigate's mission is to inspire people to explore and protect our world. That is genuine. And quite frankly, you guys are the best touch points for that. You give them the experiences that make them care, that make them be involved. And so without you guys, people wouldn't care. We'd watch it on TV and then forget about it when the next Netflix documentary about somebody doing something silly comes along. That's the difference that you are going to offer. And the way we do this, therefore, is by working with tourism and conservation brands. And when I say conservation, I mean environmental and historical and heritage as well. So that includes yourself. You are conservation organizations yourselves. Obviously, we would be a B Corp, otherwise that wouldn't be fair, but I think that that's a good baseline for any business. And we don't just work with the organizations that do this, but we take very seriously supporting the industry as a whole. So we're Alva's marketing partner, we're Biarza's marketing partner. These are some of the clients we've got, and we try and share the knowledge that we are privileged to get with as many people as possible, hence you guys. So hopefully it's useful and interesting. Final bit, I'm not one of those, those who can't teach kind of people. I've actually got a number of teachers in my family, so I shouldn't say that if they were here. Luckily, they're not. Why would they ever want to come to my presentations? But we don't just grow other people's positive impact brands. We create our own. So we've created two. Number one is going to be the leading nature connection initiative in the country, backed by NGOs, government, and serious businesses. And the other is a nature experiences website that's just like gone to number one in the rankings on that. So this is all the way of getting people connected with nature, with tourism, with conservation. But again, we create our own as well. So in terms of a little bit of context for you, leisure spend is reducing. Oh, it's not great news for us, is it? But leisure spend, this is kind of over the last 12, 13 years or so. And the yellow line there is the leisure spend that you can see. Now, the problem is, though, that it's not just reducing at the moment. It's actually been reducing since I was born. Well, I was born a little bit before that, but not too far. I am very proudly one of the very first millennials. I think I might be day one of the millennial. I mean, that's debatable, but we can but try. But what we can see here is generally, I mean, GCSE maths has shown us, you put a line in here and we're looking at this for general leisure spend. And there's a big problem with this that we need to really acknowledge, because it's not just that spend is declining, but competition is increasing significantly for that spend as well. Whereas before, leisure spend used to be, let's go and have an afternoon cream tea in this stately home, or the limited visitor attractions potentially and experiences we had in the 1980s. But now we've got low-cost airlines that will send people to Lanzarote and then everybody will start protesting. 48% of the tourists in Lanzarote are British. So it's just an interesting thing about over-tourism and low-cost airlines. Operational costs for museums and heritage organizations have increased, obviously, over the last few years, but it's disproportionate. It's disproportionate for you guys. When you compare yourselves against the rest of the leisure sector, where your figures are getting bundled into, you've got higher operational costs, you've got buildings, staff costs, and etc. So disproportionately is a challenge for this sector in particular. Again, revenue has declined disproportionately because not only are we seeing declining visitors in general, but also our funding is drying up. There is a serious issue with this. It's why our libraries are closing, why the museums and galleries and, well, heritage attractions and many of the tourism businesses that give us such great societal benefits, they're not getting funded. Goodness knows what's going to happen. But I will say that I had a conversation with the shadow, I don't know if I should say this, but a minister that said that the budget's not going up if there's a new government. It's not going to go up for culture. So culture is suffering, and perhaps, and when I say culture, I mean all of us, heritage, museums, etc. And I think maybe the most, I think maybe this, of all of leisure and tourism, is suffering the most, which is tough. So goodness me, there you go. Have a nice day, everyone. See you later. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. No, God, that would be depressing, wouldn't it? Okay, so I think the question is then, why innovate? Oh, innovate. Let's create new stuff. Why? Why bother? Is there not an easier way? Hopefully you're all accepting that change is needed. We need to address the culture funding gap that we have here. It's not a short-term problem. Hopefully I've demonstrated that with some of the context. It's not short-term. And it genuinely is an existential one for many places. Again, I've got libraries near where I live that are closed. You know, I've got, there's a heritage fairground called Dingles, which is near where I live. I live on the edge of Dartmoor, and that's closed its doors recently because they just can't afford to stay open. They said as a rural heritage attraction in that location, we just cannot afford what we've got, and we're shutting after 30, 40, 50 years. It's just what's happening. We can review our business model, and we must review our business model. And I would like us to all take this incredibly seriously, as I know we are. So when we look at business models, business is pretty simple. Anybody that thinks that business is complicated, I don't think it is. We've got two options. We either reduce our costs or we increase our revenue, right? I mean, obviously we can have a profitability in there, but these are the two things we got to play with. Do we reduce costs? If you guys aren't going, oh my goodness, reduce costs again, I would be surprised, because you have become experts in reducing costs. Restructuring is taking place. I gave a similar presentation 3 months ago with this kind of information, and we're at the beginning of this process. And in those 3 months, the organizations that were scared and were worried, they are genuinely now going through restructuring processes. That's what's happening. When we say restructuring, we mean redundancies. People are reviewing suppliers. People are changing their opening times or opening for fewer days or, fewer hours. Activities are getting taken in-house. Marketing spend's been reduced. I don't want to, I could spend the entire 45 minutes talking about this, so I won't. But if you're thinking of reducing your marketing spend, you're simply doing the wrong thing one way or another. Either your marketing's not working or, no, that's basically it. Because your marketing should categorically show you, I put this much in, I get this much out. If it's not doing that, you're doing it wrong. You're just doing it wrong. And so that shouldn't be an option. But again, I speak to people who are reducing their marketing budgets and I say, well, how are you going to grow your sales if you're doing that? And I've got to be honest with you. I think we've all been through the mill. You've all been through the mill. And I think we've done what we can. I mean, talk about lean operational businesses. Honestly, like gold standard for everybody here in how you reduce costs and how you survive. It's unbelievable. And so I'm not going to ask you to reduce costs anymore, because that would be really mean. And you might throw stuff at me, but there's not too much available. And you didn't hand the fruit out, did you not? No, all right, good. They didn't do that. So really what we've got to do is think, how can we increase revenue? That's what we've got to do. So question number one, can we scale what we currently do? Genuine question. Can we grow our visitors? Now, yes, we can. I'm sure we can. And I'm sure many of you can do that. Especially if you're going below the numbers that you were pre-pandemic, potentially, but you should probably be back up to pre-pandemic numbers now, maybe looking at where it goes above that. But I do want to challenge you and say, if you've got 100,000 visitors or 50,000 visitors or 300,000 visitors or 1 million visitors, if you really grow those, is that the most sensible and efficient, profitable way to grow your revenue as an organization? Are we just doing the same stuff again and again and aligning with these peaks and troughs of consumer spend? And it comes with increased costs. You've got to have more staff and more bills to fund the more visitors. So I don't think scaling what we're doing will work necessarily. It will to a certain degree, but it is not the solution. It's not the silver bullet. Oh, if I only had another 50,000 visitors, I don't think that's sustainable. And I don't think your current business model is viable for many of you. And these are the hard truths that I have to sit down in front of many CEOs of the cultural organizations I speak with and say, we need to change the business model. We need to look at different ways of driving revenue. And it's simple. It's not simple. Well, it's a simple concept, but it's bloody hard. The solution is innovation. Or when we say innovation, I mean diversification of revenue. And what I will say is, this is not just a sector thing for us here, right? In culture, in heritage, with museums, in tourism. We work across conservation, publishing, various different industries, all across the board. All of them are looking at how they diversify revenue. This is a pattern across the board. All organizations out there are doing it. I imagine even banks are doing it, believe it or not. And so we've got to look at innovation and diversification. So here we go. There are 3 main routes I would recommend you look at. I'm going to give you some ideas in each one of those with examples. So, number 1 is enhance what you've already got. Number 2 is expand what you've already got. Number 3, explore doing some new stuff. Enhance what you're doing, number 1. Right. So, operational technology. In the businesses you've got, the growth in tech that can deliver the systems, the processes, and drive efficiency is massive. Our sector, historically, don't worry, you don't have to read that because I'm going to talk loads about it. That's more for me if you can't read it. Please forgive me if anybody's challenging me on the accessibility criteria of this presentation. I, as you can tell, went for style over substance. And where's Ollie? Ollie, where are you? That man putting his hand up, it's his fault. There you go. Sorry. Right. The sector has trailed behind this. And I say understandably, and it is understandably. Let's be candid with each other, right? We don't pay as well as the other sectors. If I got my mates here that work for private equity firms or banks, they'll be able to offer a lot more money for the skill set that we all want to do these jobs, right? So understandably, we are on our back foot when it comes to delivering these skills. But when the pandemic hit, boom, you guys nailed it. You really you leapfrog into technology. And people that were saying that had objectives of, I'd like to get a growth of 10% in my online booking numbers in the next 2 years, which was a genuine target given to us. They were 100% online booking within 6 months. So we can do this. But our sector, we do trail behind technology, and we're going to get overtaken. We're going to get left behind, and we're not using the incredibly important tools that we can. And what I'm talking about here are things like decent ticketing software. There are a number of different ticketing providers out there, but they are not all made equally. We work really hard to get the right audiences to the organizations we work with. And then when we get onto the website and it takes them, 3 degrees to be able to figure out how to go through the checkout process, that's not doing any good. So we need to get decent ticketing software, and there are some here. Assigning that tracking, we should be able to track all of your marketing spend. You should know if you put £1 in there, you're getting £10 out there, full stop. If you don't know that, you are not doing it right. Stop what you're doing, stop spending, because you might as well just be throwing it out the windows because you don't know what it's delivering for you. And when we use technology and data, we can get into things like sequential email marketing, sending one email and then a follow-up email to the person that's read that one that's different than the one that didn't read it, etc., etc. There's so many things we can do with this: personalization, dynamic pricing. The Roman Baths gave a case study where they generated an extra £2 million in summer just by implementing dynamic pricing, nothing else. Dynamic pricing. Just, if there's more demand, you charge more. Great during tourist season. And the key to this, okay, the most important thing I'd like you to think about is that the data that we're talking about here, this data is revenue. It is revenue for you. It's like the new gold, the new oil, whatever we want to say. And as an example, one of the organizations we work with that I live near, it was losing about £1 million a year. So it was in serious trouble. And I went and had a chat with the CEO because I said, I've got 3 young kids, and if you close, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with them when it's wet and when it's raining. What am I going to do? And listen, where I live, it's wet a lot of the time. Literally, King Charles I apparently said, if it is raining anywhere in my kingdom, it will be raining in Tavistock. That's where I live. I don't know why. Anyway, sorry, but it's a great place to visit for tourism people here. So, sorry, Tavistock tourism. Sorry, the example I'm trying to give here is we started working with them. They had 240,000 visitors per annum. And over the last 6 years, we've grown them up to 380,000 visitors per annum. I'm unaware of a better growth rate of any tourism business in the UK. I'm unaware of that rate of growth pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. And what we did was essentially integrate the things that I'm talking to you about now. Next up is marketing. So number 2 of enhancing what you currently do. So you really need a digital first mindset. You need to be agile. You need to try things. Please, goodness, don't take 6 or 12 months to lock down your campaign or your marketing plan. Come up with some ideas, spin them out, see how they do, move fast. Test and learn, and then try it again. There is no permanency in this anymore. Gone are the days where we plan our out-of-home campaigns 18 months in advance and then get billboards up there that stand there. Gordon, sorry, for various amounts of time. But yeah, we can't do that anymore. Sorry, we've got the CEO of the Association of Cultural Enterprise here that I just texted before, and now he's there, and he's a brilliant man, so I wanted to say hi. The other thing as well, digital advertising, okay? Digital advertising is your single greatest weapon, full stop, about bringing revenue into your organization, all right? If somebody said to me, I've got a £100,000 marketing budget, or a £50,000 marketing budget, or a £20,000 marketing budget, I'd be like, great, spend it on digital advertising. And then when that's saturated the visitors it delivers for you, then you can maybe look at the other things. It is the only straight line method that I know of that will deliver revenue for you. As an example, adaptive weather advertising. If as predictable as our weather is in this country, if suddenly we've got a weekend and it's raining, then all of you guys should be spinning up your, it's raining outside, go out next weekend, come and stay with us inside this weekend kind of thing. That should be sent out on a Friday, because the parents who've been busy all week, then they're not planning a weekend. I don't know what day it is today, let alone what I'm doing at the weekend with my children. So quite frankly, this is what digital advertising can do for you. The other thing I will highlight is something that I've seen going on recently is, and you guys are doing it really well, taking digital natives, and by digital natives, I mean young people, and getting young people to go, how do you think we should do that on TikTok? Crack on. Do it your way. Give them the autonomy they deserve. They've got the skills that are elevated from a digital capacity beyond what many of us can imagine. Okay, it really, honestly, it's, my mum still calls it Googling, whatever that is. So this is the divide we're talking about here. And give them channel autonomy. The RSPB are doing really well on this. Go and check out the RSPB's TikTok, just run by somebody that's just really good at TikTok and knows what she's doing. So another thing that you can do is impact. What I've worked on a lot recently, what I've seen is all of you guys are going to be impact-focused organizations. Otherwise, quite frankly, you'd be probably working somewhere else, getting paid more money for doing the same job. And therefore, we have purpose behind what it is we're doing. We don't just care for the paycheck. We actually believe in the subject matter and the content but we don't bring that out really well. I don't think we bring that out anywhere near as enough. I don't think we have a good enough narrative to explain what it is we're trying to do as organizations, what we're trying to conserve, who we're trying to educate, how we're trying to inspire creativity. At the moment, impact is a tiebreaker, not a deal breaker. By that, what I mean is, if you've got product A and B, a car, a t-shirt, an airline ticket, whatever, and they're the same price, but one is sustainable or has green credentials and one doesn't, then you'll take that. But if it's more expensive, you probably won't. It's not a deal breaker at the moment. It's a tiebreaker if it's equal. But soon that will move in that direction. People are getting used to spending a little bit more on things that matter. And there's a reason for this. It's because consumers, particularly during the current cost of living crisis, consumers, they don't have the budget or the means to necessarily fund this positive impact themselves, and they expect brands to do this. Therefore, as some of the most authentic brands in this space, you have a very nice platform to say, spend with us, assuage your consumer guilt, and we're doing something good by visiting us. By visiting us, you're safeguarding this for future generations. I mean, look at the National Trust's current line, you know, the National Trust for everyone forever. That's their core strap line that generally is about inciting purpose for everybody to visit them. A quick example on this and why we're not. I've got 5 minutes left. Oh my goodness me. So I hope you guys don't need a coffee break. I'm joking. I'll move even faster if I can. As an example, I recently gave a session, a keynote at Biarza, which is zoos and aquariums of the UK. And 73% of the content, an analysis was done by a master's student. 73% of the content was talking about recreation, and only 17% of the content on their social channels, on average, was around conservation. And that's zoos and aquariums that fundamentally say they are conservation organizations. Let's learn from this. Let's put our impact higher up. And the other thing is funding will be available. You know, did you know that Chester Zoo received, when the pandemic hit, they put a plea out to say, quick, our animals are going to get cold or they're not going to get fed. Can you give us some money? They raised 1.8 million within a month. 1.8 million just given as donations. That's what impact can do. Now, the second thing, how can we expand what we currently do? So experiences. Just before pandemic, everybody got really excited about experiences. It was literally probably the most used word on the planet ever during those years. But there was a reason for this, and it's because people are looking for personalization, as we know. It highlights a higher level of value to the consumer. You know, you've got a commodity, a product, and then an experience. If you give them the experience, they value it more and people will pay more. And it is actually just really an extension of personalization and value. So develop yours, just develop them. Just think of what you do and offer a higher end experience and bring it out more. This could be behind the scenes. This could be expert focused content, whatever it is you think. But there's a great market for it. Higher value experiences are selling better than pretty much all other categories across tourism, across attractions and the industry. So create yours right now if you've not got one. Events. Many organizations are developing events. And this isn't kind of a, oh, well, let's just put on this. Or it's separate, independent, new events that bring in new audiences. And they can be more profitable. I know an attraction in Devon that stopped opening on Sundays, and the cost that they save from not having that Sunday opening, they put into, they dropped their visitor numbers, I think by about 50,000. They accepted that hit because they now put on 6 events a year, and that more than covers the cost. And it's cheaper, and it's more profitable, and it's new audiences for them. We are not in these constraints that we think we might be in. That's the entire purpose of my conversation with you all today. We can think of all kinds of things that we can do to grow our revenue. What if you did close some days and create a different way of making money? The next bit, upsell. Let's learn from others in the sector. Low-cost airlines are brilliant. The amount of time they try and sell me car hire and then excess insurance, which is more than the car hire. How does that work? Who knows? But some organizations are doing this well. Go and have a look at the National Marine Aquarium. Go through the process of buying a ticket. Don't click on a Google ad, by the way, when you do that, because you'll cost me and them money, please. So organically find them. But when you go through the basket process, they have an add-on for feed the turtles or a guided tour at this time and this and this and this. And just thinking of that, what can you add on and grow that basket value is super helpful. Birmingham Museums Trust have a very, very innovative board, and they're even toying with the idea of a minimum viable product. The expensive seats in theatres are selling fastest at the moment. Why don't we have the kind of staging for the standard visitor offering that we do in theatres or in airlines with a minimum level that's cheaper? That means cost isn't a barrier for families and lower income people to actually come and enjoy what we offer. Let's think about different levels we can do here. What are the 3 or 4 levels of mainstream visitation you can do? And so I do think the minimum viable product is worth an exploration. We will be getting that in this sector in the next year or two, I'm sure of it. So you can either lead or wait and see what's going on and then do that as well. And it doesn't matter because there's learnings in both routes. Final bit. How are we? All right. So the best bit, exploring new ideas, brilliant. Now, but they're not actually new. All of these ideas I'm giving to you today, they're not new at all. These are just cherry picking the best examples in this industry that I've seen and that I think work and that we then go and deploy with our clients. Homegrown merchandise, make your own things. St. Paul's Cathedrals takes the tiles, the used tiles that they have, and form them into cufflinks and then sell them online. Genius. There's other organizations that do this, that use materials and create their own products, whether it's gin or whiskey. Did you know more people visit whiskey attractions in Scotland now than any others? 2 million visitors per annum just to whiskey attractions. Brilliant. Now, this could be all kinds of things. It could be notepads, t-shirts, whiskey, cufflinks, picture frames from your materials, from things you do. And there are so many different ways of doing it. Wentworth Woodhouse is a country house that did this. They got slates off the roof and made picture frames from it. And there are just really great examples out there of people doing this. Another thing to think about is e-commerce. Now, I do think you can get people to your destinations. You can get people to your places. But how do we... That's quite narrow, isn't it? If we've got to make revenue, we've got to bring people to this point. That's quite a narrow way we can generate revenue. What if we can take our brand and put it out there more and get people to buy from us in the ether? And actually, if we build our online shop, we can use it as a genuinely viable revenue stream. An example, St. Paul's Cathedral, again, generates £50,000 per annum from online retail. That's not that great. On the other hand, the Tank Museum in Dorset, go and check it out, with genius marketing, has positioned itself as such that it's creating incredible global content, and they generate 1.4 million per annum in online merchandise sales. St. Paul's Cathedral, Tank Museum. Which of those is more recognizable to you? Which e-commerce revenue stream would you rather have? It's all about innovation, guys. And again, monetizing your content, stand back a sec. But, oh, all right. I talked about the tank content, but this is a person that I just like to highlight to you because my wife made me look at Tiana and I'm like, are you kidding me? What is this? Tiana is an arachnophobic, and her videos say, I'm scared of spiders, but she bought a jumping spider and she's made these videos on Instagram, and this video has 893, she's got 543,000 followers. Tiana, the bug lady, she's just talking about a little jumping spider and making it do cute things. 904,000 likes on this video, 164,000 shares on this video. Now, I think you guys can put your heads together in your organizations and do as good, if not better, than Tiana the Bug Lady. I mean, she's nailed it, but you can come up with this kind of content. And with that kind of reach, with those likes, with that volume, you can monetize that. You can get advertising revenue from YouTube and all sorts of things. Final point here. So collaborate. How can you find brands that you can partner with that either have products or audiences that align? Many organizations do this and they bring events in, but it does bring new audiences. So Bing at the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust in London, Axel Scheffer, they did a collaboration with Southwest Heritage Trust at the Taunton Museum, and it just brings new audiences in. So those organizations actually are really look to your audiences because you are very unique, that you have people coming through the doors. Now, I urge you, every single person that comes through your doors, also don't consider your job done until you've also got them online and connected with you online via email or in some way. Because then as you grow that audience, you can reach these brands and say, hey, you should pay us to have access to them. And they will. So, goodness me, guys, I'm tired. I don't know about you. Sorry for that, but I had to get it all out. I really want to help. My final words, these are 11 ways we can grow income and impact. Some of you are doing some of these, but I genuinely believe all of you can do all of them. So go for it. If you think that this wasn't completely useless, then please follow my LinkedIn profile and I'll give lots of content like this for you. But there you go. I hope that was helpful. Where do you want to go? Are we going to sit down?
So, Anthony, we have 2 minutes left.
2 minutes.
I
can do a lot in 2 minutes.
That has been absolutely, my brain is bursting.
I'm sorry.
And Anthony said that he wants to hear the hardest question from this audience. So anybody willing to close with the hardest question we can for this brilliant mind before we go? Anything that we can extract, anything that you want to know more about? Let's go. Anything? There's a microphone there. Go on then. We got a hard question incoming, Anthony.
Uh-oh.
It's not a hard question, but it's something I don't understand. What is minimal viable product?
Good one.
So yeah, great question. Minimum viable product is when you take any product and almost strip it down to the minimum experience that it could be. So how do you take a visitor offering that's, I don't know, £15, but instead charge £8 for it? What does that look like? Is it you can only visit between, I don't know, 9 and 11, and that's your £8 ticket, whereas it's actually, you know, full price if you want free reign, almost like off peak or yeah. But I'm not joking. I actually just thought of that then and there, because that's not technically what a minimum viable product is, but it's a way of reducing the value in a way, but getting cheaper offers and aligning that with things that are easier for you to do. So yeah, I would do that actually. I would offer, you know, shoulder timing and cheaper tickets for people that need to go there but might not be able to afford to visit. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And with that, it is the end of the session.
Yeah.
Can we please say thank you so much? A huge thank you.
You're welcome.
Anthony
Thanks,
Rawlins,
everyone.
Navigate. Thank you.